We are talking today about Ashley Madison. Okay, so, when I first saw it on Netflix, it's a documentary. And I'm like, God, that sounds so familiar to me. And I was just curious. And of course, I started watching it. And get out of my face, you guys. we have to talk about this. It's crazy. And I remember hearing about it after when they mentioned the Real Housewives. That's one of my guilty pleasures, right? Is the guilty housewives, the Real Housewives. Anyway, it is basically a dating site for married people who want to have an affair. The tagline is "Life is short, have an affair." Okay, so brilliant. I was like, I'm going to just not sugarcoat shit. Like, from my perspective, I feel like this is crazy time. Why get married if you want to have an affair? Or, and the way they were trying to twist it, the guy, one of the CEO, Noel, he's trying to say, and this has been going on, by the way. Let me just give you some facts here. 2001, it started. And at that time, like 30% of the people on dating websites, that's like when they first started, right? Dating sites, 30% of the people on there were married. So like Noel had this idea, and I think his brother or whatever it is, Darren, they were like, we need, there's something here. We should have a dating website just for married people, and it'll be very discreet and have like this high-end feel. And, your secrets would be kept here. It's really tight and discreet, and nobody's ever going to find out because the people that are on there are all married and nobody wants their spouses to find out. You guys, do you understand that by 2015, there's 37 million users? It's crazy. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I'm actually just blown away with how people are married and wanting to have an affair. And I'm like, what the heck is this? I just don't understand how people get married if you're going to, deviate, and sleep with other people. Like, that's perfectly fine if you want to sleep with a whole bunch of people or whatever, but why get married? And I guess in our society, they put it down our throats. Like, you have to get married. You have to have that happily ever after with a kid and everything. And for me, I loved that idea, and it was true to me and aligned to me, and like, find my person, get married, and you guys know I'm Jackie Loor, a love coach. If you're just joining for the first time, I found my person. We're married 17 years this December, and we adore each other with faithful, like, oh my gosh, we're obsessed with each other. It's like crazy love, right? So when I see people talk about, it's so monotonous and it's so boring and like there's nothing, I don't get it. Like, I truly don't. Like, Will and I are watching it together and we're like both like, what the fuck? Like, seriously. And I think that we make it a point to like put each other first, go on date nights every week. We travel the world together. Like, we are obsessed with life. We're obsessed with each other. I don't know if it's because we're both Tauruses. Like, we're like one of those people, like, we go to restaurants, like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Michelin star restaurants. Like, we live it up and we adore each other. And we don't take each other for granted. And we're very faith-based, right? That being said, like, one of the guys on the documentary, his name is Sam, and he's, this Christian man, and his wife Nia was like, I chose him. He was a Christian man and he was going to be faithful, and she didn't want a cheater. The guy ends up going on the freaking show, Ashley Madison, another show. He subscribes to be a member, and ends up doing his thing and hooking up with people in Dallas, where he's from. And then he ends up doing some YouTube video with his wife and their beautiful little children, and they're singing the Frozen song, and they put it on YouTube and it just catches fire. Like, everybody goes crazy for it, right? So now he is like, what he says on documentary, you guys, it's so, I get it. Like, I get where he's coming from. I am not like this. And this is where I want you guys to see the show and be like, oh shit, maybe his character, like the way that he is, resonates with you. And you got to honestly reflect on that. He was so bored with the life, and he's like, is this all there is? And Sam said, growing up, his dad left at a very young age, when when he was a young age. So he never saw like what love really is. And he said, Sam was like, oh, the only thing that I knew about love is like from a movie called Big Fish with Ewan McGregor. He like proclaimed his love for this girl, and that's it. Like that was his idea of love. So he declared his love for Nia when he met her, and he really did love her, but he didn't know how to be. He didn't know how to show up for her. And, it's interesting. You guys should keep that in mind, because I remember on my first date with Will, and I asked him, like how it was with his parents. And he said like, oh my gosh, my parents are the best. Like they've been together for however many years at that time, 30 some years. And, or 20, I don't know, 20 something years, 30 years. And, she ended up passing away now in January. So it's been like 40, almost 50 years. So either way, I'm trying to do math. I'm like, oh, you get it. But I remember when Will was like, he adored her. He adores her. He treats her like a queen. They love each other. They don't take each other for granted. I want that for myself. I think it's so important to have that conversation. And so Sam, never saw it. I don't know if Nia ever talked to him about that, but Nia just said, oh, he's Christian equals faithful man, loyal, because one of the commandments is, do not commit adultery. Yeah, you definitely jumped to conclusions there and assumed a whole bunch. And this is why it's so important to ask a whole bunch of questions. Now, I'm not to say that Nia is to blame for this. I really like Nia. My heart went out to her when I saw this. It was crazy time. And it was so nasty. Like to me, I was like, oh my gosh, how can this guy be okay with doing what he's doing, privately behind her back, while she is being like the best wife, cooking for him, making sure his clothes are out in the morning. Like she's going over beyond just loving him, and he is lying to her and just going off and about with different women from Ashley Madison. Gross. And not only that, like she's taking care of the kids, and so he's going off doing his thing while she is taking care of the kids. I'm like, okay, ew. And then so when he starts to get famous on YouTube, he's like, oh my God, I don't need Ashley Madison anymore. I feel like he feels like he's getting the validation. So like this is where someone lets their ego take the wheel of the freaking car. Like you gotta have that emotional intelligence to know when you care so much about other people validating you and praising you, that is all ego bullshit. It really is, period. So if you are listening right now, you're like, oh my God, but I care what everyone thinks of me. I care about like these bullshit surface things and fame. And I want fame. And I want everyone to look at me and see me and be like, wow, aren't they amazing? That's all ego bullshit. And the more that you realize that's ego, you're like, oh my God, wait, you have to make sure that you're at the driver's seat and be like, wait, that is not really what's important. What is important? Your values. Like if you decided, hey, I want to be a partner, what are your freaking values? Like Sam, like what, and that's where I think Sam went wrong. Like Sam probably didn't even know what his values were. Where's the highest self Sam, where he's like, okay, I'm a man of God. So what does that mean? An honest person, someone that respects his wife, honors his wife, shows up and is consistent, and all the actions should align. I don't think he ever like thought of any of that. He was just like ego took the wheel of the freaking car off the fucking cliff, and oh, let's just get validation. We want people to notice us. Life is too boring here. And all the fear, when you have fear, that is all the ego. And he completely blew up his life. Now, listen, he thought he got away with it because once he started getting famous, he's like, oh my God, I don't need Ashley Madison. I'm getting that validation on YouTube. Okay, you guys. And then it was crazy, and I loved it. And even me telling you this, it doesn't matter. Spoiler alert. You probably even know about this. You can still watch the show afterwards. It's on Netflix. It's called Ashley Madison. Go figure. And when Ashley Madison has a breach shut up, someone hacked their system. And so all of these users that were all trying to be discreet and hide their business behind their spouses is threatened to like, oh my God, now it's going to surface and everyone's going to know who has been on Ashley Madison. You guys. And it's kind of crazy what ends up happening because, I don't think they've even found the hackers ever. And they're looking into it. Who is it? Blah, blah. They didn't want money. They were just like, bring it down. That's what their demand was. Shut down Ashley Madison, or we're going to expose all the subscribers and all the information, everything, emails, everything. And Noel, the CEO, was like, no, they're not going to do it. Either way, it's a total shit show. You should watch it. It's good and it's crazy. And Noel was so crazy too. It's like, there's so many crazy things. But Noel, who was a CEO, and always going to all the TV shows, The View and whatever, with his wife. And he's like all about this, this is a legit business and it's nothing wrong with it. He personally doesn't cheat. He loves his wife. And his wife said, I would be devastated if my husband cheated, but that's not what we do here. That's his business. That's it. Okay. Surprise, surprise. When the freaking data breach happens, okay, Noel is now exposed and his emails are exposed. And yeah, he was having loads of bullshit fun with a whole bunch of escorts. And so, what's kind of crazy is that at the end, it has like, what has happened. And like, they're still together, Noel and his wife. And he denies any of this stuff, even though there's proof and emails, countless of all this evidence that he was going to hotel rooms with one or two women, 18 years old, he requested. Ew, no. I'm just so grossed out by him. Honestly, I'm really grossed out. And so and not only that, but there is so much fraud because this is where Will and I were like cracking up. We were like, let me get this straight. Noel lied and said all these women are on Ashley Madison and they don't even have to pay. There's so many women and this is where the men have to pay, but these are like high value, like high end, service. When everything was exposed, it was bots. Like the women, there were so many that were not real women. It was bots. And so they talk about that and like, Will and I are like, are you kidding me? Like these freaking people cheating on their spouses, are a lot of them talking to bots, like having an emotional affair. Some of them are having real affairs and going and meeting up, and others were just having full-blown emotional affairs. And then there was even a freaking stripper, that famous stripper, what's her name, Michelle McGee, that she was the one that had the affair with Jesse James, the guy that was like married to Sandra Bullock. She even did some kind of promo, and they took her account. And she was supposedly talking to all these guys. And these guys that were like her, she was talking to supposedly would come and see her at her show with flowers and presents. And she's like, who are you? She's like, I've been talking to you for however long. And she's like, what the fuck? And so she realized there was just so many lies. And Ashley Madison, karma, I don't agree with what they were doing. I truly feel like if you're going to get married, that you should behave loyal, honest, all of that. If you don't want to, get divorced. Just get divorced. Or don't ever freaking get married, period. You can just whatever. There was that couple that had that understanding and they were totally cool being married and sleeping with other people. She was like a dominatrix and he wasn't into it, but he loved her. So he's like, you go do your fun. He was on Ashley Madison getting, his fun, and they both loved each other. And in that situation, I'm kind of like, okay, I guess they both are on the same page. They've talked about it and no judgment there, right? What I totally don't agree with is when you have a couple like freaking Nia and Sam, and Nia is showing up for him and being the best wife, and they're having sex and all the things, and he is feeding his stupid ego and going off and doing shit, disrespecting the family and her. That's fucked up. And then so when he gets famous on YouTube and then they have all this leak, people blow him up on Twitter oh shit, that guy Sam, he's on Ashley Madison. And so he goes on to, tell his wife, and his wife is like, oh my God. But he says, I just subscribed, I became a member, but I never had an affair. I was like, Oh my God. I was like, Sam, come on. Like, if you're finally going to like go, own up to your shit, like own up to all the things. Don't like freaking half-ass it and continue to lie. Ew. Oh my God, Will was cracking up. Like, we were like, are you serious right now? And so then he goes onto YouTube with his wife, making her look like such a fool, honestly. Humiliating. It's just so humiliating. Like, ugh, I can't with Sam. And he's like, oh, sorry about this, you guys. You all heard it. But I just want to make it clear. I've never had an affair, never had anything. This was just got to be a member. And all of a sudden, like, he looked like a lying piece of shit, by the way. Like, you could see it on the video. Like, he looks like such a freaking liar. And Nia, like, naively totally trusted him and believed him. But then, of course, more things came out, and he had to finally confess all the things that, his pastor gave him advice. And it was like, yeah, you need to tell her everything. And it was like hours that he had to like talk to her in a car ride from hell. I swear. And he's like, he's been cheating on her since the beginning. Like, even before Ashley Madison. Like, he would go to massage parlors. He would go to strip clubs. Like, the list goes on and on with him cheating. What I couldn't believe, you guys, like, I'm serious. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That she forgave him and they're still together. I was like, what? I actually really couldn't believe it. But it was weird because I was like, hell no, Nia, run. Because I just feel like once the trust is broken, how do you go back to trusting that person? Like, their whole relationship, so many lies. Like, how can you be like, okay, and now you're going to say the truth? Now, supposedly he changed, truly changed. I don't know. Can people really change? Maybe, like, I do think people can change for sure. Maybe he hit rock bottom and he truly owned his shit. So it's not to say he didn't, but I'm blown away that Nia forgave him completely and they're still together. And so I feel like there must be something there in terms of like Nia's faith. Nia also said, I felt a shift in him. And maybe she was like digging into it. Maybe she knew that he was being dishonest and now there is a change. And I wonder if she's like on the phone, like checking his shit. Like, has it been like that or has she totally fully trusted him? Like, what would you do? Like, let me know in the YouTube comments. I really want to know. Like, if you're in Nia's shoes or if any one of those people's shoes and you find out that your partner was an Ashley Madison hooking up and having affairs and shit, would you be like, oh, okay, now I found out and now I forgive you? I would be like, bye. That's a freaking bye moment. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't. And I'm not saying shame on Nia. I don't. It's nothing like that either. I actually feel there's so much beauty in Nia. And, maybe it's a limiting belief of mine. Listen, I don't want to talk about this. Like, Will and I are so crazy about each other. I can't even imagine that happening. But like, honestly, if Will were to cheat on me, I'd be like, fuck off. Get the fuck out of here. Like, sorry, but love is conditional. It is. Like, we are together because we vow to respect each other and love each other. But it's not like, oh yeah, you can go and fuck me over or like lie to me and I'm still going to be here and love you. No, like, I'm sorry, I'm not crazy. Like, I talk about crazy love, right? A love where you can be completely real and authentically, zenfully you, right? You're at peace. How can I be at peace with a cheating asshole? Like, that doesn't make sense. No, bye, cheaters on Ashley Madison. Okay, so to wrap this up, what happened to Ashley Madison after all this freaking data breach? 37 million people or whatever. Some of those are bots, right? Obviously. But all these people exposed, dude, like someone actually even took their life. Like, they killed themselves. Like, he rather kill himself than talk to his wife. And like, and he was like, fired, or he had to be resigned from his position in the seminary. Like, it's crazy. Like, it was crazy what happened. So many people's lives just blew up. And it was interesting. People are like blaming the hackers for that. And I'm like, no, it's the people that signed up for fucking Ashley Madison. I don't agree with people creating Ashley Madison. I'm kind of like, what the fuck? Like, I just feel like people, I want to add more good to the world. Why are we helping people be dishonest and deviate from like honoring their spouse? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, how can you live with yourself and be like, yay, I'm doing a good job. I'm changing the world one day at a time, like with one cheater at a time. Like, It's just sad. It's twisted. Honestly, it is. Those are my thoughts. Now, where is Ashley Madison? Now, I hope that you guys don't like go off and now search Ashley Madison. You're going to be like, this is a great idea. Let me look for Ashley Madison. That was not the point. Yeah, it's still going strong. Like literally, they have not shut the doors. They changed the CEO. Noel's gone, but it's still open. Like it's still, people are still, actually, how many people is it? I don't know. It's like 7 million people. I don't know what. It's crazy. There's still a lot of people on there. Amazing, crazy. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Did you know about Ashley Madison? Are you as appalled about this as I am? Or would you be okay with your spouse doing this? Would you want to do this? Like, I need to know. I want to know these things. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you the next time. And don't settle for anything less than crazy love, because it has to be crazy love or nothing. Until next time.